everybody. How are you? What's up, everybody? It is just me, the underconfident human, a man who knows that whatever he says or does doesn't matter and no one cares. So, I have been wanting to do this video for a while. Sometimes I see my man Sos the Ghost from Demon's Row across my feed, which I love that dude. Shouts to Sos. I think Sos is awesome. But anyway, I've given some thought to this, and I wanted to talk about this once or twice. So I'm just gonna, simple question, really and truly. Do you think that music and Battlejacket culture and motorcycle culture blend together? Like, you ever see anyone ride with a Battlejacket? You know, when I was a lot younger, when I first started making vests and stuff, no one ever called them battle jackets. That term didn't even exist. But I mean, it's a vest or a cutoff, whatever. But anyways, I know, seeing videos over the years, and you read comments and see people online, internet people that really like to talk big, and yet you never see videos of them backing up the shit that they say. Club culture, motorcycle culture, and all that, pretty serious stuff with regards to kind of living by a code, respect, things that are important, sacred, what have you. For club riders and stuff, most of the time it's brotherhood. I'm sure in some cases it's business. And then, elsewhere in the world there's riding clubs and stuff like that that aren't quite, full-blown MCs. Then there's independent nobody riders like myself. So there we are. Certain things that you just learn being around motorcycle culture for any amount of time. I have been almost my whole life, thanks to my cousin, and I'll get to that in a bit. But there's certain lines you don't cross. It's really about, it's a motorcycle culture concept of courtesy, of basic common sense and courtesy, respect. It is very possible, depending on where you live, where you're at, if you're on a bike, to get checked, get put in your place real quick if you are mocking somebody, disrespecting somebody that is club affiliated for sure. When you wear patches, for example, on a coat or a vest that do not represent something you didn't earn, something that wasn't very specifically earned. Good way to get checked. Fake patches and stuff, like Sons of Anarchy or something like that. That's a good way to get an ass whipping, or get you thrown out of a bar. But anyways, one of my most sacred belongings, something that is more important to me than anything else I own, is this particular vest. I've made a few over the years, and I currently have two. I have two vests and two full-blown winter coats that I have, completely put a long time into, patched them out, studded them up, did stuff. Like, I've shown them on my channel before, I think. But my vest is quite sacred to me because my life story is absolutely on it. Like, my soul, if there is such a thing, my essence, my being, me, absolutely me, is in this vest. Like, my energy, my existence is in my vest. It's just how I choose to embody and represent myself in a inanimate form, I guess is the way to put it. but every single patch I have has some kind of story associated with it that involves me and my past. For example, childhood, like youngest ages, was obsessed with music. Could not go to a store without asking my mom for a new tape. I had a massive cassette collection before I even hit, junior high school. Like that was all I ever wanted. I didn't really ask for toys. Rarely I'd ask for Nintendo games because I was a gamer too, but it's always music. So live and breathe music. That's a part of who I am. With my patches, I've got like Third Base and Public Enemy on here, for example, that I was obsessed with that stuff before I was remotely old enough to understand the lyrics. I was reciting Chuck D before I could possibly be old enough to understand that stuff, right? And then, into my teenage years when I started really getting into industrial and stuff like that, so KMFDM and Prodigy, they're on my vest. A little later years when I started stepping into punk, thanks to an girl I dated, my very early 20s. She was into the punk scene. The emo punk scene was her thing. So how we ever got along, I don't know. But that opened up my doors. And Crass, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, and Henry Rollins. Excuse me. Love those people. So the stuff that's mattered most to me my whole life. And something in particular that I think is a really sharp parallel with how the vest and how patches are viewed in motorcycle culture, especially MC culture. It's something like you don't touch another man's patch because it is very sacred to them. It's theirs. Like, they really earned it. And I guess in a weird way, maybe this makes no sense, you can tell me, but like, out of telling my story on patches, or through patches, my back patch in particular, which I've shown many a times, Clan of Zymox. I don't know that I really want to delve into like all of the details here. I might have mentioned it once in one of my videos talking about incel philosophy and stuff, but let's just say in my very early 20s, I did something really stupid. I was really in a dark place, and anyway, that was a bad time for me. Like, I've always had depression issues and anxiety issues. The depression's pretty severe naturally, so often for no reason. I take pills nowadays, but anyway, let's just say what I went through. I survived it. I came out the other end, and so I'm here alive talking about it today. So obviously it wasn't meant to be. A little while later, I met someone, and my daughter came along. Me and the mother didn't last long. We were together about 3 years, and she couldn't deal with me. She moved on, but my daughter's always been in my life. She's now 19. Still can't believe that. Anyways, during that time, again, it's always been music that's really carried me through the good times and definitely the worst times. Like, it's the only thing I have to latch onto because it touches me. But the Clan of Zymox, when I discovered them at the time, and again, we're going to the early 2000s here, mid 2000s, there was a certain song I heard, a certain couple really, but it just hit deep, really hit deep. And in this like worst time of my life kind of thing, that was just the right time for this dark music, this equally depressing, non-positive, non-happy. Like, there's some dark tunes in the Zymox discography. They're not all like that all the time by any stretch, but some things can be interpreted a little dark, and it really just helped. It was the most helpful thing. I got to tell my story to Ronnie Moorings himself once. I actually got to meet him, got pictures with him, and the man hugged me, which really shocked me. But case in point, and I'm sorry for the rambling, I'm not good at speaking. It's one of 500 reasons why my channel sucks. But that carried me through, and that's so extremely deep and important to me. Hence, why 3 out of my 4 pieces of gear have this Clan of Zymox back patch. You can see. So, back to the point, I guess, is looking for opinions, and I know there'll be plenty of shit talkers and trolls. Ultimately, your rule is kind of, you should be yourself and wear what you want without regard for other people. But in motorcycle culture, that's like mostly true. In the same way, out anywhere else, that you can pretty much wear what you want to. But would you really, and this was a good analogy, would you really go walking through a Crip neighborhood wearing all red, bright red, candy apple red? Hell no, you wouldn't, because you're not going to come out of that too well. It's sort of the same thing, you do not, wear club patches that you're not really affiliated with. You do not wear diamond 1% and 13 patches, because those mean things, and you don't do that. My background with that, like, how would I know? Mostly comes from growing up around it. My cousin used to babysit me a lot when I was little. Now, just a story. My mom, my dear mommy, was a bartender. And oftentimes she'd have to take me to work with her, so my cousin, when he got off, would be able to come and get me, and my mom would, give her some money or whatever. This was 80s, but she was taking me there before the bar was open, so I don't want that to sound effed up, but the owner of the bar was real cool. He'd give me a bag of quarters to go play with the machines or whatever, and I felt so cool because I'm a little kid, right? I'd sit down there at the bar waiting, and my mom always mixed me up these the Shirley Temple, which was, at that time, was just Sprite and grenadine and I think a little shot of cranberry juice. She'd whip that stuff up for me. She used to do some cool stuff with the glasses and stuff, but she'd whip that up and sit that down there for me, and I'd sit there and sip on my Shirley Temple, really feeling like I was a grown-up. And I'm just, little. But my cousin, he's been in a motorcycle club my whole life. The club he was with back then, I'll kind of refrain from dropping names, I think, but no 1%ers, like, we didn't do that, thank goodness. But he was with them for a long time. They disbanded, and then he went to another club, and he was with that club for a while, and then they got patched over into another club, and it just on and on. Now, as I got older and we eventually moved up here, my cousin now lives about 2 hours from me, so I don't see him all the time. As I've been a grown adult, I didn't get to spend a lot of time around him. Over the years that I didn't have a bike, because like I had the last bike I had was a Yamaha V-Star. I love my V-Stars. They're easy to work on, and I love them. But anyways, I had to sell my bike because I still had it on some payments when my ex ditched me. Didn't really have a choice because I was really scraping. It was a bad time, but it caught me off guard. But anytime I'd go down south, I always had a bike to ride. Like, someone in that club that had more than one bike would definitely let me borrow. It's good to be around that. But the case in point, and I'm sorry again, I'm rambling, but I grew up around that, so I have some idea of culture, of the club culture and all that. But again, these guys weren't 1%ers. They dealt with 1%ers. I was there to see it with my own eyes. Sometimes there's a protocol. Like, for example, if they're going to do a club run to anywhere for any reason, even if it's a charity run or if it's a poker run or whatever, they call ahead and get permission from club presidents. Like, it's very synchronized, so you don't start no shit. There's a lot of protocol because it's structured. Motorcycle culture and MC culture is pretty structured for the most part, for reasons, and then there's shit you don't get into that I certainly wouldn't. One of the reasons I have no interest in pursuing a club. But all that protocol and all that life, and then here's this other side that I talk about, is battle jackets. You will never see me in public on a bike without my battle jacket, my vest, because it's me. I will not ride without it. Some of these mornings, I guess, like on my way to work, I'll ride in just about any weather unless it's really going to rain. If there's a long day of rain, I'm not riding, but 30 degrees in the morning, fine, I will really bundle up. At that point, I'm not wearing my vest. I stick my vest in my saddlebag and I pull out one of my patched up winter coats, lace up, you know, until later in the day. But that's just being technical, semantics. I will not ride without my vest because my life is in it. Like, my essence is in it. My energy is in my vest. It's who I am, like, as best as I can do. And I feel good in it, you know, because it's got so much me in it. I feel like myself. And as I said much earlier, it's sacred to me. It is that important. Just the same way, in my view, and tell me if I'm wrong, that, you know, club guys that really earned their patch value that vest, value those patches. I feel the same about mine. Like, my whole story is not related at all, but to theirs. But I think there's a parallel there. So that's why I honestly believe that Battlejacket music culture and motorcycle culture absolutely blend 100%. I've never pondered the idea, never really felt like, for example, that being out riding in a vest like mine, that I'm mocking a club or club culture or what have you. And likewise, having been around plenty of it in my life, I can tell you that no one gives a shit. Like, nobody cares. If anyone's even watching this video, I'd be surprised. But out on the road, no one really cares unless they see a band or two that they like, and then you get some friendly conversation. 1%er or not 1%er. We have a couple big presences up here that I just don't really, you know, I don't really go to where they hang out, but it's happened, and they're cool as hell. Never had an issue. The basic rule with any 1% clubs especially, that you don't shit in their backyard, you're probably not going to have any problems. Like, I've never had a damn problem. But anyway, no one cares. People that would care and really start some shit up, like if you really are going to get into a situation which is similar to, again, like I suggest, walking through a Crip neighborhood wearing red, you know, the people that would recognize that know exactly what they're looking at. The moment they catch eye contact with a vest like mine, they know exactly what they're seeing. And they know right off, there's no diamonds, there's no rockers, there's nothing, you know, claiming a town and challenging anything. So no one cares. That's another reason on the list why I believe strongly, and that's really the whole point of this video, I believe that motorcycle culture and music culture, especially those in create battle jackets, absolutely go together. It's why I ride with mine always. And some of that too does come from the notion that I am way too serious about it. Like, you know, some people, it's just a vest, just for fun. They slap some shit together of music they like to go to shows, and that's, you know, that's about the extent of it. There's plenty of posers that go for a lot of looks and just trying to be edgy, and that's their whole thing, is how many eyes they can get on them. And then I'm sure there's plenty of people like me that take it to a whole emotional, spiritual-ish level, you know, real deep, really special. Most of the time that I go riding for fun, I like to go get lost. Just find weird places to eat that I'll never find again. But I'm way out in the middle of nowhere. So, like, I'm not often going to bike nights and stuff like that trying to get looks for my vest. I wear my vest all day and night out on the bike, and I'm way out in nowhere where no one's going to see me. Like, that's the difference for sure between aesthetics and, you know, maybe some devotion to the philosophy. But anyways, that's it. Again, hey, sorry for rambling. It's what I do. But let me know if you actually sat and hung out with me through this. If you're someone that's been riding for a long time in a club or not in a club, or just a troll here to stir up some shit, I mean, you'll kind of probably get ignored a lot, but whatever. I'm interested in hearing stories. If there's people that do the same as me and ride with their battle jackets, coats, what have you. It's like my helmet, even my helmets. I've got a few different types of helmets. I've got decals and shit and stickered them all up with some of my favorite bands, because why wouldn't I? Of course, goes without saying, like Clan of Zymox, Ministry, I've kind of fucked up my Revolting Cox patch. Front 242, Lifeblood, Skinny Puppy, Lifeblood for me. Cypress Hill, Public Enemy, Wu-Tang Clan, Lifeblood. Frontline Assembly, KMFDM, all this stuff is just, you know, part of my heart, man, from various ages and stages of my life. So that's, I think, the absolute love and passion and honesty and purity that really comes with two wheels and your connection to nature and the road. It's an experience. It is absolutely an experience, a very powerful one, and one you either love it or you don't get it. And people that don't get it, don't get it. Same with talking about clubs and rules and all that. They don't understand. They never will, which is why they talk the shit that they do. They can't. But something so deep and personal combined with something so deep and personal, that's how I see it. That's how I think it is. Battlejackets, motorcycles. Hell yes, absolutely. What do you think? Anyways, thanks for hanging out. This is the Underconfident Human. I will see you when I see you. Maybe. And I might even, actually do an ASMR video again, since that's kind of what my channel's supposed to be about. One thing I love about my skull masks, these gaiters are sweet, because not only do they look badass if you like, skulls and mockery artwork, but it blocks the wind just enough that you don't have bugs and shit and bits of dirt and whatever flies up off the road getting around your mouth and all that, or in your beard. But at the same time, plenty of airflow to keep your face cool. Like, that's good utility,